The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In today's episode, I'll be talking to the founder and also to the director of marketing over at Sutro. Sutro is a revolutionary smart pool monitor, and you're going to learn more about the Sutro in this podcast. There's definitely a lot of features of the Sutro that set it apart from other smart monitors on the market today, and you're going to learn more about that in today's recording. Leslie's Pool Supplies is a proud partner of the Pool Guy Podcast Show. Leslie's Pool Supplies has been do-it-yourselfers and pool trade professionals' trusted partner since 1963, providing quality products and services to make pool care easy and solutions and expertise to do it right. So I'm joined today by Ravi Karani and Jari Bolander. Ravi is the founder of Sutro, and Jari, what do you do over at Sutro again?
Run marketing and communications.
Yeah, so how are you doing today?
Doing great.
And how are you, Ravi?
Doing good, yeah. I'm doing good.
The Sutro Smart Monitor, it's a fairly new product on the market, and you want to go over some of the details about it. Just to give a brief introduction of exactly what it does and why you brought it to market.
Yeah, sure. So the Sutro, Sutro as a company was started about 5 years ago, and the first product that we have out there, which is the Sutro Smart Monitor for your pool or spa, it's a robot that measures your water chemistry in your swimming pool or hot tub or jacuzzi. The actual implementation of it's pretty simple. You just drop the device into your swimming pool. There is a cartridge which measures the water chemistry. There's an application that tells you exactly what chemicals you need to put into your pool and when. And in that entire system, kind of 2 points to note are that our chemical system is completely agnostic. So if you go to Leslie's Pool Supply, you go to Home Depot, you buy Clorox, whatever chemicals you use, Sutro works with them. And the second thing to note is we have built the most accurate sensor in the pool industry because we use the exact same reagents that you use when you actually test your pool. And I'll go into that kind of later in the podcast, but basically all we've done is taken that test kit and made it super, 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 super small. And so we're just a little miniature test kit that fits inside and floats in the robot.
Yeah, so basically it would fit into the smart monitor category, the water smart monitor category, and there's a lot of different devices in that category on the market today. And I think if you just mentioned the reagents and the reagent test kit, so why would the Sutro be a better way to test the water than just maybe like a standard, reagent test kit you buy it online or at the pool store?
Yeah, the standard reagent test kit has been and is the go-to method for testing your pool. That colorimetry or spectroscopy of dropping in the reagents, looking at the color and comparing it is the go-to method, right? And has been for the good part of the last 100 years. The reason that the monitor is better than that test kit is around proactivity versus reactivity, right? When you take that manual test kit, you, the human, have to go out there. You have to remember to take the test. You have to go to your pool. You have to test it. You have to figure out what to do. The Sutro does it for you on autopilot, right? So whereas you're going out there and being reactive, what the Sutro does is it's preventative. So it just tells you when you need to do what you need to do versus you having to go out there and always keep chasing the problems from one side to the other.
Yeah, and I was going to also mention that the Sutro uses reagents, like you mentioned, versus what the other smart monitors rely on are ORP sensors, pH sensors, and I think that's a very big distinction between the Sutro and the other smart monitors on the market.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you raise an interesting point there, David. There are other test robot monitors on the market, right? And one thing to note as a consumer is if you're going to be comparing two different technologies, look at the byline of what the sensor is that it uses, right? And if you see the three letters ORP, that stands for oxidation reduction potential. But, kind of dumbing down the science, basically the output of what happens with that ORP sensor is it tends to drift over time, right? And the way that you fix that drift is you have to take out the test kit that you were supposed to throw away, right? So if you're going to have a sensor that doesn't really tell you what the chemistry of your water is, why get it, right? And so that's why we actually set out 5 years ago. Honestly, we actually used the ORP sensor as our first prototype and scrapped the entire model because it did drift. And that's why we spent the good part of 5 years basically building this reagent-based technology.
Okay, and I can tell you from using it in my pool that I've been putting it through the test. I've been lowering the pH, raising it up, zeroing out the chlorine, seeing how it reads the chlorine building back up in the pool. And I got to tell you, it's extremely accurate. I mean, I left it at 0 for a week just to see if it would, if it would get kind of funky and read some chlorine in the pool. It didn't. And then I gradually raised it 1 parts per million, 2 parts per million to kind of gauge it. I also matched it against the LaMotte Spin Touch, which is the premier water testing kit on the market. And it did great. It matched up really well with that. And so for all of this, why don't we just mention the price point? Because, I think that's one thing that the consumers are going to definitely focus on. And so how much does this device cost for the consumer to use it?
Yeah, the device right now, we actually have two plans. There's a basic plan and a premium plan. And so you can basically get the device for $199 delivered to your house. And you're either on a $29 per month or a $39 per month basic premium subscription. It's start and stop whenever you want. So we're extremely flexible in our pricing. If you're in the Northeast and Boston, New York, and you only use your pool for 4 months of the year, well, you just pay 29 months for 4 months, right? That's all we're going to charge you for. And so you start and stop as and when you feel. And we have a second option in which you can quote unquote outright purchase the unit for $699. And that drops your subscription to $19 and $29 for basic and premium. So basically $10 cheaper if you buy out the device for $700. And if not, you can buy it for $199 and you get $29.39 per month.
Yeah, and that subscription price, I think we should mention, it includes the reagent cartridge every month. And so a lot of that cost, I think, is the actual cartridge you ship out. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. There is a physical cartridge that does get shipped out, and you have to replace that, and that's what does the testing. So, yep, that's correct that we do send that out with the subscription.
If you do buy the device, you get a full year premium subscription included in that. So just wanted to put that out there as well. Started doing that.
The parameters that the Sutro tests for, you want to go over the testing parameters that are currently on the device?
Yeah, sure. The Sutro measures three main chemical parameters. The first is pH, the second is free chlorine, and the third is alkalinity. Just to kind of reiterate and rehash on those three parameters, the pH uses the same phenol red you use in your test kit at home. The chlorine isn't a true ppm or parts per million. So the exact same way that you would use a DPD or an OTO test kit, we actually come out with a true ppm reading versus those ORP sensors I mentioned earlier come out with like a millivolt aggregate reading, right? Which kind of is a good standard to know if I'm above or below, but we'll give you the true ppm, which means that we also work with, copper silver systems. We work with mineral systems. The third, as I mentioned, alkalinity, that's done by a true titration, and that's actually a true milligrams over calcium carbonate. So we're actually doing the titration and looking for the endpoint for all the chem geeks out there. And the fourth is also we have temperature, right? So we do have a temperature probe inside there, and that thing floats around and tells you the temperature as well.
And I think the overall design of the unit, it's a larger unit than you're used to seeing on the market, and I think that's to achieve the depth for the reagents to be accurate. If you've done any pool testing, and I think Ravi, your background, you had a pool store, is that you have to have a certain depth to get the right reading. And I think one of the drawbacks of the float near the surface with the ORP sensor, and your device actually goes down a forearm's length. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I did actually grow up in the pool industry. My dad used to have a chain of pool and spa supply stores down in Southern California. So I was a pool boy. I used to install pumps, install filters. I've done acid washes. I don't know how many drops I've tested from people coming into the pool store. So I've done that. And the idea for Sutro actually came about when I was in India, and we were out there doing work, and a lot of the companies that we saw out there were doing water filtration. And there was really nothing in the sensor space. And so the company does have a larger mission and vision to basically democratize data from water, right? Our first benchmark is kind of the pool and spa industry, but the ethos of Sutro is to basically change the way that humans look at water.
Yeah, and for all the nerds out there like me, this question, if you can go in a little bit of detail, of actually how it does the reading with the reagents, because I know it does 3 readings per day on my app, and I'm just curious of actually how it does those readings. I've seen the cartridge, I've taken it apart and looked at the reagents inside there, but I can't get my head around how it actually does those 3 tests during. I don't know if it's any kind of if it's going to go into anything that would be what's the word I'm looking for? You don't want.
Proprietary
Yeah,
or
there's
Yeah, there it
there's
is.
nothing. Yeah,
Proprietary. Go ahead, Ravi.
yeah.
Sorry.
There's nothing proprietary. I mean, honestly, if you go on the Google patent search, you'll see our patents on there, and you can read through the 50 pages that we have on multiple different patents. But very simply, right? The way to understand the Sutro system is to first understand the way that you as the human would take a test, right? What you do as a human is you walk out there next to your pool, you take out your little test kit, and you take a sample, right? You have to fill up that vial with some sort of water. Once you have the vial and the sample, you'll then go ahead and take that little red bottle, which the chemical's name is phenol red, and you'll drop 5 drops of that red bottle into the clear water that you just took. You'll put a little lid on top of it and you'll shake it up, right, to make sure that the reagents get mixed with the actual water that's in there. And then what you'll do is you'll hold it up against, a white background and you'll say, well, I think that the red color inside of this mixture is more or less red than what this little color wheel on the side says, right? It's 8.2 pH or 7.8 pH. And then you'll make that comparison. And if you're a real good, pool nerd, then you'll pull out your booklet and you'll say, well, if I have a 7.8 pH or an 8.2 pH and I have a 20,000 gallon pool and it's going to be 100 degrees tomorrow in Los Angeles, California, how much acid do I need to put in? And then you'll run a formula and you'll figure out I need to put in 2 quarts or 3 ounces or 1 gallon, right? You'll then make that decision. That exact same process is actually what's happening in the Sutro, except for it's really, really, really small. And so what the monitor actually does is at the bottom on that little gold grate, if you turn the Sutro upside down, there's literally a water intake. It'll suck up a really small piece of water. It brings it up actually into that cartridge. And when you own a Sutro, you'll take that cartridge out, and if you look at it from the other side, you'll see the top of it has this clear kind of chip. We call it a microfluidic chip. What we do at that point in time, once the water is inside that microfluidic chip, is, as I just mentioned, you would drop in 5 drops of phenol red. We drop in 1/50th of a drop of phenol red. So that's basically, I think, a fourth the size of a drop of water is what we're putting inside there.
Huh.
So just think about things in really, really small scales, and then we literally mix it up. We have a ball inside there. So if you take the cartridge and you shake it, you'll hear it kind of rattle like a little rattlesnake. And that's because those balls actually mix the water inside that flow cell. Once
Got
that's
it.
done, the same way that you actually look at the colors, we use computer vision to look at the colors the same way that your eyes would. And that all goes to our server through a program that we call Sutro AI, which is artificial intelligence. And it does all that computation of how much chemicals you should put in. Based on the ones you scanned, we give you, the consumer, a really easy message of just, hey, your pH is off, put in 2 pounds of, or two quarts of acid. So that's how the whole system works.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, when you talk about it like that, you're simplifying it, but to me, I think that's pretty amazing engineering behind that, especially the small amount of reagents that you're using to get the test. And I'll reiterate that it's really accurate. So the Sutro, I mentioned that my app tests 3 times a day. Is that correct? It tests 3 times?
That's correct. Yeah, the system default is still 3 times a day. But we are going to build out opportunities to basically have users change those times, first of all. And then secondarily, actually, for all you people out there that are in the commercial setting at your public pool, if you have any sort of government regulations, we're going to have a commercial offering that can actually get you, like in New Jersey, you have to measure every 2 hours. We can actually pre-program that into the back end for commercial operations to basically get that through as well.
Okay, that's great. I think I think the advantage of the Sutro again is the reagents and the fact that reagents I think are more accurate than the other sensors on there. And then the app. Let's go over the app and what it actually tells you. You touched on a little bit of how it will give you the dosage amount, and I think that's what people are looking for because I think I get asked more than anything in emails and on my YouTube channel. How do I know how much to add to my pool? And that's for people that's a struggle. And you have a pool background, Ravi. So, people walk in the pool store and they always ask you, how do I know how much to add to my pool? And so you want to go over the app and how it actually works. And I really like the cool part as you can scan in. I guess I'm going a little ahead here, but you can scan in the chemicals that you actually use, and it's very agnostic. You don't have any brands that you promote. So go ahead and go over that for us.
Yeah, the app is pretty intuitive in that sense, right? We have approached this entire situation with the user in mind, right? The pool consumer is at the center of everything that we build. So when you open up the app, the first thing you see is the temperature, right? Because that's what people care about. Is my pool warm enough? Is it cold enough? Is my jacuzzi on? That's the first thing that it shows on there. And then secondarily, there's actually a lot of white space on the screen because if your pool is fine, then you don't really need to worry about anything. Just know if the temperature is cold enough or hot enough for you to go swimming in, and then just jump in. Now, if there is a problem, the way that we handle that is you just have to put in some basic parameters into the pool, right? Or into the app, do you have a saltwater generator? Do you have a mineral or copper silver system? Do you use bromine or chlorine, right? Some initial indicators so the Sutro system can begin to actually generate those recommendations. And then you literally just open up the app and you scan your chemicals. You just open up the camera and whatever chemicals you use, you just scan the UPC or the barcode. And the Sutro system has a database that knows all of the chemical concentrations so we can make sure that we're properly dosing your pool. Now, if you have a problem, what'll pop up is a very simple, easy to understand message based off of your gallonage and based off of the type of chemistry you have that just says with a picture, put in this particular chemical that you had scanned because we know you have that in your garage and put this much of it inside there.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about the app is that not only tell you the dosage, but if you enter your chemical, liquid chlorine, dry acid, it'll actually give you the dosage amount, which takes all the hard work going on getting an app or using the tailored watergram, and all of that's eliminated by the app itself. And like you said, I programmed it pretty easily. It took 2 minutes to set it up. I put the amount of gallons of my pool, salt water, whatever else it asked for, and it's really simple to do. And I think we should also mention how easy it is to set up the Sutro. I think it took me 45 seconds to set it up.
Wow, I think that's a new record. I don't even think Robbie could set it up that quick.
Yeah, I can't set it up that quickly either.
Maybe a minute or a minute and a half, I should say. How's that?
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, that's what we try to do, right? I mean, we know that sometimes technology can be a little bit frustrating, a little bit overwhelming, and we do know a lot of smart home devices just don't have that first initial user experience. So we've worked really hard to make it, simple, seamless, get up and running, have a great experience, and that even starts with the way the box is designed, and as you mentioned, the size of it. It weighs a lot. It's meant to be a durable premium product that's going to last for a long time and give you the most accurate water readings you can get.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a plug and play device, and I think that's another feature that I like about it. And since we're talking about the durability of the device, what about maintenance and warranty on it? Everyone is always wanting their things to last forever. I know that's how it is. My son has a drone that's 3 years old and is finally having mechanical issues, and he's like, "What's wrong with it?" I'm like, "It's 3 years old. You flew it, 1,000 miles. Of course it's gonna have problems." So, what's the maintenance and warranty on the Sutro?
Yeah, actually, really good question. So we want to build a product where you just, put it on autopilot and you do what you want to do, which is basically enjoy your backyard and enjoy your pool, right? That's the end game of what we want with our product. And so in terms of maintenance and warranty, as long as you're paying that subscription, we have your back, right? And so just we want to make sure that you have the best of the best out there, the same way that it is with your cell phone, and you go in there. We have your back, we have it covered, right? And so just make sure that if you keep on paying that subscription, if we're sending you cartridges and the system is up and running, then you're good to go.
And I guess we can also just briefly mention how easy it is to change that cartridge, because there is a little bit of user interface. There's a battery and a cartridge in there, and you just simply open up the top. Of course, when you make sure that you're in a dry area, open the top up, and you just plug in the battery and plug in the cartridge. It's pretty simple, and the app will tell you. I even contacted tech support, and I got to tell you, your tech support is awesome, because I just started using the device myself, and it said, monitor needs service soon. And so I was wondering, I couldn't remember. I do so many things, and I can't remember when last time I changed it, how I did it. So when it gets to a 15, at the current app, when it gets to 15 tests left, it'll indicate that you need to change the cartridge out. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. So we have an automated system that basically understands and keeps, it's replying with our distribution center to make sure that you're getting a cartridge before you need it. And then your app will basically just pop up with the banner to make sure you have enough charges inside there. The cartridge shows up, the new one, and then you just swap it out. Kind of some interesting Easter eggs in that actually is the cartridge design is supposed to look like a cassette tape. So it actually has the exact same interaction of you putting in, a cassette tape into like a Walkman. And the hub actually was designed like a CD player. And so if you pop up the top of that, it feels exactly like a CD player. The last one, for all you Back to the Future fans, when you open up the device, it's actually supposed to look like the flux capacitor. So I wish we had some dry ice so it could steam out from there. But that's what it's modeled after.
Totally. We're gonna do a video about that for all you Gen X boomers out there who know what tapes are. Used to make mixtapes. We got to build a mixtape for Sutro. But yeah, no, the design team, stellar. All of our engineering, our customer service folks we are so proud of them. We really thank you for giving them kudos, because it's an important piece of the puzzle for us. We know how frustrating it can be to have a problem with your pool. I mean, Robbie was in the industry, and he knows what it's like, and his family and all the people that we've worked with. So it means a lot to us that you said that our customer service is rock star, because they are. We love them, and we just want to keep on making it better for people.
Yeah, and I gotta say, you're pretty bold making your product green, because in the industry, green is like a no color. And so I give you a nod for that. It's a really great looking green color, by the way.
Well, yeah, it'll go. Yeah, it'll go beautiful with your crystal clear pool because you're using Sutro.
So, before we plug the website here, again, I think the price point, if you lease it for $199, is that correct?
That's correct. Yep, it's $199.
And then $29 for the cartridge every month and for the monitoring. For me, I think you can buy a test kit for a good photometer test kit is over $200, and then you got to buy reagents yourself anyway. And I don't think the price point is really outrageous compared to what you would normally do. And then what it does for you, it gives you the readings to your phone, which I got to tell you, I look at it more than I should. I know it does it like 3 times a day, but I'm always checking my phone and I'm like, oh, Sutro. I click on it and it's like, oh, it hasn't changed because yeah. But I think that's just one of the things that I think is convenient about it. So I don't think the price point is anywhere near outrageous. If you look at it that way.
Yeah, and we do want to make it accessible to people that obviously want to manage and maintain their pool, right? And so we're always listening to our consumers. We have our ear to the ground. I think the way that I like to think about technology is it's a conversation, right? A lot of people will think, hey, I'm going to build an app. I'm going to build this piece of hardware, and it's one and done, right? You're either going to take it or leave it. We kind of have the opposite frame of mind at Sutro, where things are always changing. We need to be ahead of the game. We need to be listening to people. We need to see how people use our product, and we need to build it for them, right? And that's kind of at the end of it, and that's kind of why we've made this pricing change as well in these last 2 weeks.
Think of what we're doing is an ecosystem, what we call a smart water ecosystem, which means that we have to be able to provide skills and value throughout the whole ecosystem. So that's the reason why it's chemical agnostic. That's the reason why eventually you'll be able to look at some of the data. That's the reason why you'll be able to interact with it, let's say a smart speaker at some point. So really, this philosophy is pretty ingrained within what we do. And we, again, always looking for inputs. And back to your point about being able to buy it outright. Yeah, you can buy it for $6.99 and then get that free year of premium service. And then the next year you can make a choice between premium or basic, and it's $19 for basic and $29 for premium.
Yeah, I think having options for people is a great thing, definitely. So if they're interested in getting the Sutro, where can they go to learn more about it and to either purchase it or do the lease of the product?
Yep, you can go to mysutro.com. That's mysutro.com.
Great. So mysutro.com. It's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the last thing I would say is that after using the product myself, and I don't usually I never actually do any reviews without using something myself and putting it through the test. And so I match the readings. I have all the test kits here. I have every single test kit they make. I have 2 other smart monitors in my pool. And so I match the readings up all the time between those 3 devices. And so far, the Sutro has proved to be very accurate, and it is as described. So just let you know that your device is working perfectly well.
Thank you. That's great to hear.
So thank you guys for your time today, and I think this really helps people to know what the Sutro is, how it could benefit them, and the real value behind the device, I think, came out in this podcast. I think there's real value to having your readings so convenient and so accurate, and look at your phone and you know what you have to do. I think that's just a no-brainer for the technology nowadays and the people that are tech savvy that want to make their life easier.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us here, David.
Yeah, thank you very much, David, and all you do, and really appreciate it.
And if you're looking into the Sutro monitor and you want to learn more, you can go to my website, swimmingpoollearning.com, and on the homepage there'll be a icon or a banner that you can click on. It'll take you to the Sutro website. And I also have a web page for the Sutro on my site with a summary of the device and a link to their site. You can easily find that by clicking on the test kit menu tab and then go down to Sutro. And if you're interested in other podcasts I recorded, you can definitely check that out also on my website. On the banner, you'll see a podcast icon and click on that. And if you're in the industry and you want to enhance your business or you're starting out, definitely check out my coaching program at poolguycoaching.com. A lot of great benefits there for joining, including 10% off your general liability insurance. You can learn more about that, again, at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. Leslie's Pool Supplies has been do-it-yourselfers and pool trade professionals' trusted partner since 1963, providing quality products and services to make pool care easy and solutions and expertise to do it right.